If you're trying to fuel like the pros and you're tired of spending £2, £1.50, £2.50 a gel, and you're trying to fuel with high carbohydrate intake per hour on your hard training or races, then I've got the recipe for you. Today we're going to be making 0.8 to 1 ratio carbohydrate mix that you can use in your bottles or in gels. It's going to save you a heap ton of cash and help you hit those PBs in your next training session. If you were to look in a pro's pocket, you'd see hundreds of gel wrappers from the races they're doing. 6-hour races, 120 grams of carbs an hour. That means they're taking probably 20 gels a race these days. If you were to add up how much that is, that's maybe 40, 50 pounds worth of gels per race just to stay fueled and hydrated properly. But it doesn't take a genius to look on the front of a beta fuel gel and they're advertising 1 to 0.8 ratio of maltodextrin to fructose. So we can make a mix that's just as effective, it's going to keep you just as fueled with no GI distress, no horrible medicine-like taste, and it's going to be better for the environment with less waste, less plastic, less mess in your back pockets. Let's get into it. Like, so beta fuel has become an industry standard product. Maurten as well. They're all using this 1 to 0.8 ratio of maltodextrin to fructose. Some of these cheaper gels, like High Five, are using 2 to 1 ratio. That means that the gels we're making today are going to be more effective, less GI discomfort, and allow you to fuel with more carbs per hour for less money. As always, nothing in this video is sponsored. This is everything you're going to need to be your own nutrition sponsor. I know not everybody's got a nutrition sponsor. I don't have a nutrition sponsor. This is what I use in races, this is what I use in training, and this is what we're going to do today. First up, you're going to need to get yourself a bulk bag of maltodextrin. This is one of the cheapest forms of carbs you can buy. This is the basis of all nutrition products these days. Bulk by fructose, a little bit more expensive, it absorbs quicker in the gut. This is where you need to have those high fuel rides. And next up, you could use sea salt. If you really want to use the best and get the most premium gels, you can buy an electrolyte powder like this. It has all the electrolytes you're going to need. The main one being sodium chloride. We've also got potassium and calcium in there as well. And also has magnesium. For the logistics of making the gel, we've got the gel wrapper itself. Now this is a silicone flask. You can't technically get these in this exact format. I had to source these from China myself, but you can get something very similar on Amazon or any of the online marketplaces. This allows you to fit approximately 250 grams of carbs in 250 milliliters of fluid. You take 2 of these, you're gonna get 500 grams of carbs, more than enough for most people's even hardest rides or longest rides. A pot, this is where we're gonna mix everything up. Water, carbs, kitchen scale. This is gonna get you the right ratio of fructose to maltodextrin, as well as making sure you've got enough electrolytes for the different sessions. Maybe it's a hotter day, you wanna run more electrolytes, less electrolytes. You can dial everything in on the scales, make your own personalized nutrition mix. And finally, to keep everything clean, we've got a metal funnel here, cheapest chips, you can get these anywhere. This just helps funnel the gel mix from the pot into your funnel. Best off with a pot that has volumetric markings on the inside. I don't have one of them today, but that's okay. I've made this enough times, I can eyeball it. But if you're making it for the first time, it's worth getting a pot with the volumetric markings, because then you can fill up the sugar based on the gram weight and then fill with water to the line. And then you know it's going to be exactly 250 mils, so the size of flask you got. Today, I've only got one flask. I'm going to make a 240 gram gel. I'd just do one of these in a 3-hour ride. That'd be 80 grams of carbs an hour. I just put water in my water bottles on the bike. I mean, I can rinse my mouth out, stay hydrated, and keep all my fueling in my back pocket nice and clean. So what we're going to do is take your calculator, because I'm not that good at mental arithmetic. We're going to do 240 grams divided by 1.8. The 133 is going to be your grams of maltodextrin, and when you times that by 0.8, that's going to give you your grams of fructose. I'm going to mix that all up in the pot. I'm going to add a gram of electrolyte powder, as that's usually my sweat rate for 3 hours, and then we'll heat it all up into the gel mix. Everything in the pot, it's all weighed out. We're going to put on the small hob, low heat. We don't want to denature the fructose or let any of the sugar burn. Again, my mum's been raging at me. I've gone away, doom scrolled on Instagram, come back, and the sugar's all burnt to the bottom of the pan. That's your pan dead if you do this. So make sure you keep an eye on this. This stuff will heat up very hot. Hot sugar is a lot hotter than hot water. So if you're watching this video and below the age of 16, don't be doing this yourself. Get somebody to supervise or make it for you, because sugar burns are no joke. Anybody who's worked in A&E can tell you that a sugar burn is way worse than a water burn. So if you've got a volumetric pot, you just want to fill to the volume of the flask. So if it's 250 ml flask, cover the sugar, get it to 250 mils. That's how much water you need. I don't have a volumetric pot here today. So what I've done instead is I've just made sure that there's just enough water to cover the sugar. I swirl that around. With the added heat, the sugar will dissolve nicely into the water. If you were just to scoop this stuff into a water bottle, you wouldn't be able to run nearly as many grams of carbs to the volume of water. The heat helps activate the particles and help it dissolve a bit quicker. So that's why we're heating it up. So as you can see, the mixture's starting to go clear. That means the sugar's starting to dissolve into the water. This is going to be very hot, so you need to be careful with this. But once we're done heating this, we're going to leave it to cool because we can't have anything that's over 60 degrees Celsius going into the silicone flask. So we're going to let this cool down. If you're in a hurry, if you're just making gels the morning of the ride, morning of the race, maybe you're unprepared like me sometimes, then I recommend having a bigger pot. You can fill with cold water, you can plunge this in and it'll cool in about 10 to 15 minutes, making your gels much quicker. Alternatively, get a couple of these flasks on a rest day, on a day where you've got nothing else to do. You can make up a much bigger batch of gels. Obviously you can't control the ratio of fluid to carbs then, but if you're always running 90 grams an hour, always running 80 grams an hour, you can make 4, 5, 6 different gels, keep them in flasks, keep them in the fridge. These don't leak. You can just grab a gel out of the fridge on the day of the ride and you're gonna have 90 grams an hour for however many hours you're riding that day. If you're like me, you're always in a hurry, just plunge one pot into another pot, fill it with water. That's really gonna help sink the heat into the water away from the gel, and then we can fill the gels quicker, get out riding the bike sooner. This bit is the bit that takes a little bit of time. I usually leave it in a pot of cold water in the morning while I'm making my coffee or getting kitted up for the ride. Usually 10, 15, 20 minutes max, it'll be cooled down and be ready to go. This gel recipe works even if you haven't thought about it in advance. You could start tomorrow, save yourself some money and get fueling for your rides this week just by trying this recipe. A funnel, take the lid off your flask, funnel in the flask. Be careful with this, you don't want to spill any. Pour the gel in, and if my measurement's right, we're gonna have exactly 250 mils. It's almost like I've done this before. 240 grams of carbs, cost me pennies, no mess, no gel spilled, no sticky hands, no plastic waste, like that, in your back pocket, 250 grams of carbs. One unflavored gel flask. Now, if you're not a fan of the unflavored taste, maybe a bit too sweet for you, you can always go online. You can either get hydration mixes, which would cover the electrolyte part of the drink as well, or you can just get some flavoring powder. It's readily available online. You make gels any flavor you like. I actually have a Bakewell tart flavor at home, and it's my favorite flavor for gels. But once again, thanks for watching. Stick around, there's gonna be more nutrition videos coming up soon. How I use this kind of nutrition to fuel my training sessions to get some of my best training adaptations yet. Cheers.